Hello, everyone. I am Brandon, and I want to welcome you all to Tansson Talks TV.
Hi, and I'm Mom. Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you all to be here and for us to get into yet another amazing episode here today.
I'm looking forward to speaking with you also.
Yeah, and so, as per usual, before we get started, I did want to ask, how are you doing today, Mom?
Actually, I'm doing fine. How about you, Brandon?
I am doing well. Yeah, it's a pretty exciting day, and I can't wait to continue on the summer with these amazing episodes that we're speaking about.
Oh, same here.
Yeah, so are you able to let us know what series we are speaking about today?
We're going back in time today, Brandon. We are going to talk about a show that you or I probably do not remember, and that is the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And we'll be talking about the first episode.
Yes, I'm so excited to get into this, and this is a show that I have seen the first season of. I watched it last year, I believe, but you have not seen.
That is very true. I may have seen an episode here and there, but I have not really sat down and watched the series. So for me, watching the first episode was the first time I really sat down to just see it really in its entirety at all.
Yeah, well, that is just so interesting that we're able to, because I know it's a different dynamic than usual. Whereas you've seen the show and I haven't, or we've both seen it, so it's pretty exciting to go into this.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so this is season one, episode one. Love is all around. Originally aired in September of 1970.
Yes.
So you're able to go ahead and start us off.
I'm more than happy to start it off. I'll give just a little bit of synopsis of the episode. My thoughts are this episode really has three different points. Of course, Mary Tyler Moore is just moving to the area. She is going there because she's just broken up with her boyfriend, and so she wants a fresh start. Um, One of the 3 points that Mary like to do first is first find some place to live, and so she does this initially by finding an apartment, and the landlord is very happy to give her the place where she'd like to be. However, there is a lady who also wants the same apartment that Mary would like. And so a little bit of a contentious, I should say, um, weird beginning of a friendship for Rhoda and for Mary. May not have started off as friendship, but I have a feeling they become friends later. But they do fight a little bit about the apartment, and in the end, Mary does get the apartment because the landlord prefers that Mary have this particular apartment. The second part of this particular episode has to do with Mary because she would like to find a job. And so she goes to out to a TV station in order to interview. She really doesn't know what she wants to interview for. She just really just kind of shows up that day and hopes to get a job. She does land a job. However, I will say that when she meets Lou Grant, who is I guess, the quote unquote HR person or whoever it is that Lou Grant is in this particular episode, he seems to be in charge. He asks every illegal question you could possibly ask someone for this particular job interview. He even does things that are probably very illegal. And so she is hired for this particular position. She is given the title of associate producer, which makes $10 less than a secretarial job. And so Mary begins the job, I think the next day or within the week, and she's very bored because she actually sharpens pencils. So that's kind of how she begins that particular job there. I know it grows up to be a different type of job later, but for right now, that's what she's doing on the first episode. And then the third portion of this episode actually has to do with her ex boyfriend. Her ex boyfriend comes back into town trying to renew their relationship. And then Mary realizes that she's really grown outside of that. And so she's her own person. And so I guess, as the theme song says, she realizes she's going to make it after all in this particular episode.
Yeah, that's just such a great synopsis. Of course, as always, good job with that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and so it's so interesting going through it, and I definitely agree that yes, Lou Grant, the news director at the station, goes through every single illegal question. And actually, Mary, the character Mary Richards even asks the question of, yeah, you know, this is illegal to ask these questions, in which he responds, you gonna call a cop?
Yep, she does. Yep. Yeah, and it was very interesting to watch. I will say in 2023, looking back at the things that were asked, and you just know how wrong they were. I did have to giggle, but yet at the same time, I'm just amazed that that is actually going on.
Yeah, that is just so interesting to think about. And I had actually gotten somewhat, yeah, into the show in part because I, yeah, I heard it repeatedly mentioned in a television documentary I was watching a year or two ago, and how monumental the show is. And so, even though, like I said, we hadn't really seen the show prior to last year, though, um, we are quite familiar with many of the actors who are in the series.
Yeah, we are. And we've talked about these particular actors at different times when we discuss other TV series. For example, we've talked about Cloris Leachman in Facts Alive. And we know she's done many other things, but I think for you and I, um, you know, we remember her best as from the Facts Alive. We've talked about Ted Baxter, the character Ted Baxter, and in regards to Too Close for Comfort, because that's also one of the shows that we watch on a regular basis. And then Gavin MacLeod from Love Boat. Even though we really haven't watched much of the Love Boat, we've periodically just seen an episode or two here and there. Of course, we know his character from there. Were there any other characters that stood out for you?
Yes, but because we cannot forget about that the actress for Rhoda being Valerie Harper, who was on Valerie later called the Hogan Family.
Yes, that's very true. And we've watched quite a bit of Valerie. I think we've seen all of those.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that we'll be speaking about that at some point or another on Tansson Talks TV as well.
Yeah, we sure will.
Yeah, and so how is it for you anyway? Like seeing the actors that we've seen before in somewhat similar roles, but either before or after, the time that we would have seen them.
Well, it's actually fun to watch and see how, well, I guess for the majority of the people, how they evolved as actors a little later. But then when I watched Dick Van Dyke, which I don't think you've even seen Dick Van Dyke, have you?
I've
Besides maybe an episode or
I've seen
two?
an episode or two, but that was because they colorized the CBS colorized the episode like 2 or 3 episodes a couple years ago.
Okay. I watched quite a bit of Dick Van Dyke, so I do know about Mary Tyler Moore and the character that she did play on there.
And so for you, like I guess comparing the two a little bit, like can you sort of see how she progressed in acting from then to I guess to this show?
Oh yeah, whereas before, where she was someone married and actually just really kind of played the counterpart character, it's nice to see her move on to a character to become her own, and to actually to work as the starring character in a particular series.
Yeah, I mean it's so interesting. I mean to see this, and I know for me when I was first watching it, because I was so familiar with just like I said, just so many of the actors. Um, it was sort of like jarring at first because it's like I'm very familiar with the characters, but with the actors, and the characters they're portraying are very similar to the ones they later portrayed. So it was like, oh, like I know this character, but at the same time, this is also new. So yeah,
Yeah, and I don't even know if you know that Luke Grant had his own TV series later. Are you familiar with that?
yeah, and I believe almost quite a bit of the characters got their own series. Phyllis got a series, Rhoda got a series, and Lou Grant got a series.
Yes, yeah. I say, well, Brandon, in your TV background knowledge, what is Mary Tyler Moore in general? How is that important in the today's? If looking back, how is that important, or why was it a monumental show?
Yeah, I would say that for me, I mean, looking back, especially as someone who studies media studies a bit, yeah, I would say it played a solid foundation, like within I guess feminist television in a sense. I mean
Mhm.
that like we see Mary, she is an independent woman. She had a boyfriend, but not anymore. But you can see even this in this episode, she can take care of herself, and she wants companionship, but that's not necessarily her priority. And the course of this episode is her prioritizing her career. And even when we see her again back with her boyfriend, you can tell that she knows from past experiences that it's not going to work out, and it's best for her to just keep on going and progress with herself. And so having seen season one, even though this, our discussion here is about the first episode, but having seen season one, I can definitely say that the series continues on in that light, and I'm excited to hopefully continue watching at some point, because it's just such an interesting story.
Okay. And is this first episode just kind of representative of the other episodes that come after that?
I would say so. Yeah. Like I said, I've only seen season one and maybe an episode of season two, but yeah, I would say
Hmm.
it's definitely representative. Although I actually like the rest of the season more than I like this episode. Um, but yeah, but speaking of seeing episodes, so after seeing this episode, would you continue on and watch some more of the series?
Actually, Brad, I would. I would continue watching, and I'm sure that you and I will sit down together and watch some additional episodes.
Well, that is great to hear, and I know you are a resident theme song person. So, what are your thoughts about the theme song for this episode?
You know, I'd have to give it an 8 or a 9, or maybe I'll just say an 8.5. Um, I would do that because the song is very memorable. I do like it. I like the words and the meaning behind it. I can't give it a 10 unless I can sing it. And I can't sing it all the way through. I didn't realize I didn't know all the words until I started to read it on the TV as the theme song was going on. But but the theme song, I think it is a good theme song. It's very catchy, and people do remember it, and it's very iconic.
That is true, and I will say that I know you wouldn't know this because you've only seen the first episode now, at least in recent history. But the season one theme song is actually different than the rest of the series.
Okay. That means I need to go watch them both back to back now.
Yeah, it's a minor difference, but yeah, I actually like I said, I've only seen an episode of season two, but I actually prefer the season one because I mean it just feels special and a little magical.
Okay. Yep. But you and I will sit down together and do it.
But yeah, but is there any other notes that you have for this episode, looking back, and any unless any hopes for hopefully future viewing?
Um, I didn't have any additional notes for this particular episode. I just thought it was a great way to begin the episode because, like I said, most episodes typically have, one big plot. Then they have, of course, the subplot that goes along with it. But I thought they did a good job in one episode, actually, just kind of wrapping up everything and bringing everything together to kind of show why she began this, or why she moved there, and what she needed to do. And it's a good, and we have now progression to go. We now can talk about her relationship with, as she makes friends as she gets there, because we do know from future episodes that she does grow in that way. We know that surely she is not pushing pencils for the rest of the series, so we get to see what kind of job she actually ends up getting, working for the TV studio.
Yeah, like I said, it's just such a fun watch, and yeah, I'm excited to see what more we have to come. But overall, this has been a very fun discussion as always with you, and like I said, I can't wait for more.
All right, same here. And just so our viewers, please put down in the comments and let us know what shows that you would like for us to talk about next.
Definitely let us know in the comments so we can, just watch the amazing shows that you all have to recommend, and feel free to watch with us because that's what makes it even more fun. I want to hear all of your thoughts to these episodes that we're speaking about.
Oh, same here.
But until next time, have a wonderful day, everyone. Enjoy your week. Take care.
All right, bye bye.